Welcome to the official Division 5 podcast. Olympus is
one time, man.
And Jeremy Colletros has been around forever. Simply forever. He's a historian. He's known as a historian. He knows everything. If you have a question about FPF, ask GM. He'll know the answer without even looking at his phone.
You want to scout? GM's the best scout in the league by far.
You can also find me on the field. I play Division 2 Solid, Division 4.
I'm Division 4 for Frosty Bronson and Division 5A in this division for Wolfpack.
Simone?
I play 3 for Snatchers, 4B for Friends with Benedicts, and 5A Supply and Command.
Friends with Benedicts.
Yes. I like
So we all essentially have no lives aside from FPF.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's the granted.
And
so
our
we're
girlfriends hate us.
we're just going to dive right into it then. We're going to go with our game recaps. Tomahawk Nightmare 12, Les Verges Folles 12 in Division 5A to start it off. My first question to you, Terry, is did we just see a matchup of the top two
I hope not,
teams
man.
in 5A?
I hope not, because that game was beyond boring. Beyond boring. It was a defensive struggle, if you want to call it that. Both teams, honestly, I know both teams, and I know they're a lot better than what happened. I think that they're both so evenly matched that it kind of counterbalanced each other. JF Marquis is a great quarterback. Since he went to the finals, I think it was 2 seasons ago with Tomahawk Nightmare in Division 5.
Division E, actually.
The Division E, sorry. He's kind of fallen off a bit. I think their whole team has fallen off. They're missing a few key points from that team. But overall, I think they're good. The game was a little weird because I think that Les Verges Folles were trying to figure out their offense without Sean Lafortine at quarterback. Vincent Morissette came in and did a decent job. I don't know if it's his first game playing quarterback or not. But
I believe he filled in one game in Division 5 last year.
So there you go. Sean Lafortine is still on the field, still playing well, great athlete. I just think that they were both so evenly matched that it kind of counterbalanced, and it was a 12-12 tie in the end. Not a great game to watch.
So you don't feel that this is going to hurt them in the long run instead of, say, moving up to 4B with Lafortine at quarterback?
No, I don't think so. I think that both these teams are better than what I saw. I also think that if maybe they play again, it's a different scenario. Depends on which team builds chemistry more. I'll give the edge to Les Verges Folles on that. I also had preseason. I looked at Tomahawk Nightmare and I said this team will be one of the teams to beat in this division. I think I'm going to change my mind.
Interesting stat line from this game as well. Both QBs going below 500 completion percentage. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions for both, and each team in Les Verges Folles, it was Sean Lafortine with both touchdowns, and Olivier Savage for Tomahawk Nightmare.
Two former All-Stars. Olivier Savage, one of the better players in the I guess the mid-tier divisions. Like I said, the parity between these two teams, it's crazy how they butted heads the entire time. One would throw a pick. JF Marquis would throw a pick. Morissette would throw a 20-yard touchdown, and then Marquis would throw a 20-yard touchdown. It was just really, it was different to watch. I think that going forward, maybe they'll be fine. There's no doubt in my mind. Both are going to be over 500. I think both quarterbacks are going to finish with over 500 quarterback ratings.
A team that may have a little bit of trouble coming out of the gate. Space Pirates lost 6 to Get on Deck, 27 points. Jadaridi and Moazab both took snaps behind center, sort of a Chris Leak and Team Tebow type arrangement.
I would not compare that, but that's fine. I'll give it to you.
Considering the amount of passing touchdowns, it may be comparable.
I guess so. That's a good point. Splitting QBs it's never going to work. I think that they're just trying to figure out who's going to be the starter going forward. Moazab coming from 5 years of not playing in the league, and Moazab he's been there since literally day one.
FPF history point.
Yeah.
The last 2 quarterbacks to share duties at QB and finish a successful season
Were Jad and Mo.
Nope. Alex and Sam Nadeau-Putes on the Ducks in Division 3.
So there you go. I don't think that's an interesting stat line. I don't know how the hell he remembers all this stuff.
I don't remember how. I don't understand how Nadeau-Putes was not playing quarterback full time.
Yeah, that's a good point.
What I don't understand.
So I just honestly I think that it's a recipe for disaster to have 2 quarterbacks in. But speaking of Jad, I think they're just trying to figure out who's going to be the starting quarterback going forward. I think they should move more towards Jad. Personally.
Speaking of an objective recipe for disaster, if you looked at the stat sheet, Get on Deck had 18 players.
And 18 players on the field too, not just on the stat sheet. On the field.
So
I don't know what they're trying to do.
They fielded 3 teams at once.
Yeah, I don't know what they're trying to do. I don't know if all these
less?
They had special teams apparently. Offense, defense, special teams. I don't know what they're trying to do. I think Mike Cafe is the organizer for this team. They have a good quarterback at Stéphane Larosilière, who's
Former St. Leo Cougar.
St. Leo Cougar. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the history of Quebec football, apparently. I just don't. It doesn't work. Anytime you have more than 10 guys on your team, it will not work. You're not going to be able to share the ball. You're not going to be able to build chemistry within your team. Your quarterback's not going to know your receivers.
I like how you say that, although your one championship comes from an 11-man team.
It does, but we missed a lot of guys, though. There was guys that were wasted, puking on the bench every game.
And those are just the guys that played.
Yeah, exactly. But we were always missing guys, so I think that we needed 11 players that year. But 18 is...
Yeah, so what can both teams take away from this? What can Space Pirates take away from this?
I think Space Pirates need to figure out what's going to be their identity. Is it going to be a running offense with Jad, or is it going to be a passing offense with Mo? I think I'm leaning more towards Jad because he's been in the league for the last 5 years. Mo hasn't, and Mo's a decent receiver, even though probably on his jersey it says Butterfingers. I think it does, and I think that they should go more towards Jad. That should be their identity. When it comes to get on deck, cut the roster in half. Honestly, get rid of 8 guys. Be 10. 10 is perfect. I played on 10-man teams. I played on 8-man teams. 8 is fun because you get to play a lot more, but you're never going to get the buy-in from all your players if they're not on the field.
Yeah.
Everybody's paying $200 to see. Well, and this team isn't paying $200, but they're all paying $200 to play. I think that they all want their share, and the only one getting their share is the quarterback at this point, and maybe the rusher. So I don't think it's a recipe. I think the recipe should be get rid of 8 guys, cut them, and say, listen, guys, we'll make another team next season, 2 teams, or whatever the case may be.
Next game on the docket, Junkyard Dogs, 39. Been there, done that. 12. Been there, done that. Jump up from Division E, their first season, to Div 5B. Junkyard Dogs, this is another sort of season for them, as usual. Do you think that the jump is going to help or hinder Been there, done that?
Anytime you jump up to a higher division, be it a successful season or not, I think it helps you. Unless you're getting blown out 40 points a game, I think it's going to help you. And Been there, done that is a good team. They're a good Division E team, we'll say.
So tell me what you took away from this game then.
What I took away from this game is that Seb Tardif is an awesome player. I think he's going to be an all-star this season if he continues the way he's going. He's going to be obviously he's the cornerstone to this team. He's the quarterback. What I took away from this game is that Junkyard Dogs, too experienced. They added a lot of talent on their team. Somebody like his name's falling off, Josephakis, adding him on his team. Very talented, very athletic young kid that can play. They still have guys, veterans of the league, of Jason Rossi at quarterback, throwing 6 touchdowns.
Brand new addition as well, Hugo Alamano, 4 receptions, 105 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's paid dividends already for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that guys like that on the team, you can't go wrong. Honestly, you can't go wrong. What I took away from this team is that they were just outmatched because of experience. And Jason Rossi's played at this level, at this Div 5 level for a long time. And
so is this the season of success for Jason Rossi and Junkyard Dogs, or are we just going to see more of the same, where we have those up and downs?
We see this every year. We see this every year where Jason Rossi starts out really hot, and then kind of he faces some tougher challenges. Because Been there, done that is probably one of the bottom tier teams in this division. I think we can both agree on that. I think that Jason Rossi, if he can stick to that game plan, what he did, 6 touchdowns, even against a bad team or a good team, it's still impressive, right? So I think that Jason Rossi is going to have his struggles because that's the type of player that he is. But going forward, I think he's going to have a much more successful season this year because of the weapons he surrounded himself with. Even though they're missing Jacob Burnett.
Fair. If this game was replayed in Week 10, do you think it would be more of the same, or would it vary?
I think that it wouldn't be more of the same. I think it'll be a closer game. I'll still give the edge to Junkyard Dogs in Week 10 if they were to meet up. Only because Been there, done that, younger team, less experienced. At that point of the season, I think that maybe they would have figured out their offense, but Junkyard Dogs may be fighting for a playoff spot. I mean, it all varies, but in the same scenario now, I still give Junkyard Dogs the win, maybe by a 6-point difference.
So we will be at games. You can always see us on the sidelines. Terry Tam, Jim Colethra, Simon Dagenet off in scorekeeping as well.
Yeah.
For now, the sort of hot topic, Division 5, where it used to be just one large division, is now 5A and 5B. Essentially, as you all know, you registered a team in. Based on the cap, the division was divided in 2, with some teams making it to the top of that in 5A and some teams making it to the bottom in 5B with a little bit more parity. Are we better off with this system or with a 48-team division?
I don't like the 48-team division. I like the system the way it is now. I would just rather both divisions make it to the final. Both division winners play each other in the final. So 5B winner against 5A winner. The reason why is because there's teams in 5B that just because their ratings aren't at what the cap was 385, I think, just because their ratings aren't higher than 385 doesn't mean that they're not good enough to be in Division 5A. So it sucks for the team that did 5B. Let's say they go undefeated, they clean out the playoffs, and then they say, okay, but we're better than that team that won 5A. Like, why can't we play them to see who's the real champion at Div 5? That's the only thing that I would see.
But at
That's
the same
way I feel.
time, with this division, does it not strike you more as we now have 8 divisions instead of 6?
Yeah, absolutely. So call it Division 7 at that point then. You know?
I guess the issue with that is that there's such an influx of teams
Yeah.
that register
I agree.
en masse for Division 4 and Division 5 that you almost have to kind of manually split them up.
Yeah.
If you look right now, compared to other seasons where there would always be 1 or 2 teams that would really pad your stats and you'd be able to beat up on, every matchup seems competitive. There's
Yeah,
a lot of parity in this. You look at it from week to week, and I especially noticed it in both the higher and lower divisions when making survivor pool picks.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
there's always the equivalent of the team that plays Jacksonville in the NFL that you'll always pick them to
Well, not
continue
this
on
year,
in the.
Jacksonville, but yeah, I know
But
what
absolutely. That being said, there's no real team. There's no teams like that in
Yeah.
5A or 5B.
I agree. And looking at the schedule this year, I was looking at my schedule itself. I'm like, man, this is a tough schedule. I don't know how we're going to get through it. And then I looked at any other option that we would have had in 5A. I was telling Simone this before we started, is that either way I was going to have a tough schedule. And I think that's awesome for the league that you're not going to get a bunch of these blowouts. You might get a few.
There's parity.
Yeah, of course, there's 100% parity.
From like a league perception, when we're splitting the teams, right? We have 1 to 48. The 48 team doesn't have to play the first seed, so it kind of helps them out where the lowest team doesn't have to play the best team, and on the other hand, the best team doesn't get to play the lowest seed. So it kind of helps. It kind of helps the lowest guys and kind of denies the best teams of free wins. But at the same time, it kind of hurts when you look at like the 24th and the 25th guy, where the 25th gets to play the 48th, but the 24th, who's basically the same level, has to play the top
Yeah,
tier's team.
I agree. 100%.
I get that, but when you have a 48 team division, you're not often seeing that bottom seed, that 48th ranked team playing the 1 or the 2 teams often, if at all. Usually what happens is that they're split up into, say, 4 tiers of 7, where you have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ranked seed, and they tend to play each other within and then go up or down accordingly, similar to the format in Division 1 right now, but with
Yeah.
a lot more teams.
What's the difference between 24 and 25?
Well,
0?
24 is in Div 5A, 25th is in.
But no, what's
Div
the
5B.
difference in rating?
It could be 0.1.
That's what I'm saying, exactly. So I get what you're saying. So the top team is in 5B is just as good as the bottom team in Division 5A, relatively speaking.
But they get easier matchups, so it kind of helps them out in some way. But
Yeah.
then again, we've seen top tier teams fall out in the playoffs or fall out during the season. So does it really matter in the end?
And if we look at it, like a team, the perfect example of this team that kind of could have been in either division is the Longhorns.
Yeah.
The Longhorns, in everyone's preseason article, on the tip of everyone's tongue, is that the Longhorns in division in 4B
Yeah.
would be one of the top tier teams. And if you look, for those of you who play in Division 4 right now, Longhorns struggled hard in week 1. So,
They struggled hard in week 1, but they would be a good team in Division 5A, that's for sure. I think so. I mean,
but in the same way, the divider between 4A and 4B, you
100%.
have that in 5A and 5B as well.
I agree.
So before we go to break, just to let you know, we're on Twitter as well, at GMKOLE44.
At Terry Tam FPF
and at Dagenet FPF as well.
and at Eagle FPF. You can tweet at him and
It will be read on,
it'll
on
be
the show.
on the screen. If it's appropriate.
With that, we're going to go to a quick
Discount double
break,
check.
and we'll be back in a few. And we're back. Thank you so much for tuning in or sticking the official Div 5A, Div 5B podcast with Eleftherios Tamvakalogos
Wow.
and myself.
Nailed it. Yorgos Michalis Koletras.
I think that was the whole reason why they gave you this bit, because you can do the there you go.
Like that? You ever notice when you go to La Belle Province and you order, yes, two steamish, onions, and patates.
I think you're the only one who does it.
Stephen Hodhod, future Hall of Famer ref, does it perfectly.
Ref, player, he is.
Ref,
basically
player,
only one guy.
awesome guy,
Stop giving ref
actor,
a hot hat,
director,
please.
producer. And on the
It's not
seventh
because
day, he
It's not
rested.
because he's a ref that you have to give him love for.
I know.
Huh?
It's 'cause
With,
he's
with
a
that
buddy.
in mind, we have our 5 for 5 right now.
Yeah.
Every week we're going to go through 5 different topics that we're going to touch on. Right now we're going to talk on the top of 5A, bottom of 5A, top of 5B, bottom of 5B, and of course, 5 reasons why Terry is qualified to give his opinion on FPF matters.
Okay, so I didn't prep for this one at all because I just wanted to wing it. So 5 reasons is my hair. You can't see it, but I got great hair.
I'll take off the
I got
tube,
awesome
man.
hair. Second to GM's hair. Well, we will agree to that. 2, because I'm a better analyst and or quarterback than Simon Dagenet. I think we can all agree to that.
I think nobody agrees to that.
We got 2 right here that agree to that.
Yeah, but that's ego, so that doesn't matter. You can't even speak.
That's Eagles quarterback, and he's agreeing, by the way. I just want to say that right here.
Case in point. Lawyered. 3,
Oh, so you like it because you stay on the field more.
and you can pick him off, exactly. 3 is because any podcast called Olympus Has Spoken, I have to be a part of, right? Because I'm Greek. Elash.
Have Greek, have Vietnamese.
4, I've been in this league since day 2, I'd say, since 2006. So I think I've been, other than Mokan, I've been in this league the longest. And 5, I'm just an all-around great guy, and you'll learn to love me, you'll learn to hate me, but I'm just awesome in general, and I'm beautiful.
We'll see how that turns out. So from there, top 5 of 5B. What are your teams that you've looked at so far?
Okay, so I looked at Ghosts. I like Ghosts. I mean, I like them a lot. As I think going forward, they're one of the better teams.
They're a favorite. They've made the finals in Div 5 as well.
Yeah, I know they
They're
made the finals.
they're
It was because of my bad snap.
They have a new quarterback now, though.
Who's the quarterback now?
Wiseman.
Oh, it is Wiseman. Yeah, okay. I was gonna say Wiseman. I thought it
they're
was-
they're a strong and well-built team. They're going to be on everyone's radar, and it's not one of those games that you're going to look forward to if you're on the if you're playing them.
I agree, 100%. Ghosts are a tough team, all good friends, and chemistry, man. Chemistry wins these lower divisions. DG Goons is my second team. That's the team I think that could have been decent in 5A, but I think they fit right in 5B, of course. Chris Pendenza he's got exponentially better since day 1. Other than his little his flunder at the overnight tournament, I think you could call it that.
But I think that with guys like Chris Pendenza on this team and Derek Fontana,
Yeah.
getting those reps in the higher divisions and bringing that back down with them, Frank Ngandue as well
Yeah, of course.
in Div 4, these guys are bringing that experience back down with them to this core that they've grown as a team.
I've been talking about Derek Fontana for a long time. I always say that he is one of the better deep threats in that mid-tier division. 3-4-5. He has speed. Is very underrated.
It's
and his
the
hands.
thinning hair that kind of
That's what it is.
you don't trust his ability, and then you get burnt.
Derek Fontana, man, I'm a huge fan of that. And they got a good core around them. Their defense is organized. I always forget the guy's name, number 85. Anyway, either way, but he runs the defense, and I think that going forward, their team is built around their defense, and Chris is able to score points when he's not behind, and we'll get to that later. Third team, I say St. Lunatics, Michael Sanchez. I like Michael Sanchez as a quarterback. you
Also
know?
rocking the Nelly reference from
Yeah.
early 2000s.
Best album ever, Country Grammar. Maybe not ever. Pretty close.
Second to Ja Rule and Ashanti, right?
Whoa! What the hell, man? You just shat all over my universe. I like St. Lunatics. I don't know if you're a fan this season, but St. Lunatics for me they're up there. There's a lot of names on this roster that a lot of guys won't know about, but I think that Michael Sanchez, again, like DG Goons, fits well in this division. He had NWO. They brought Peter Minyaka back. I think they brought the 3 best players from NWO, put them on this roster, filled in with a couple other guys from other teams, and they're gonna do well. I think they'll finish top 3 in this division for sure. Fourth team is the Siths. The reason why I'm going Siths is because I always say you can't beat experience, and Gino being in this division is experience. And I'm not a huge fan of Gino.
My head is shaking right now, and we'll cover it later.
I'm not a huge fan of Gino, but I think that they can be able to be finished top 5 because they're grind out teams. And I'm honestly I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I'm not sure why I put creamsicles in there. I think I meant to put them in my bottom.
Organized as usual.
As usual. Sorry,
I've got DG Goons as well. I've got Ghosts. I see Guerrier de l'Espace as well are a team that are going to be
that was the team I messed up on.
very scary. Just throwing bomb after bomb. Alex David out at quarterback. They have a replacement as well. Same core. They look really, really strong right now. A team I saw for the first time at Loyola, the Jaguars. Very strong, very physical team. Played with a lot of ferociousness. I also have Les Patriotes, new team, a bit of the core from the Coyotes in Div 4 playing down, new athletes as well. They
Not to
kinda,
be confused with Les Patriotes. Les Patriotes.
Les Patriotes. They kind of grinded through that game and came out with a win over Weapon X, who we'll touch on a little bit later.
Yeah.
But for now, so we agree on a few, we disagree. I feel like you've left one out, but that's due to
No, it was
poor
Giga did his
editing.
boss. I
Okay.
think it was just more. It was a typo.
Let's do
than
the
anything
Terry
else.
being Terry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with that, Simone, do you agree? Do you disagree? Are there any teams you think stand out and should be standing out in the top?
I think that's a pretty fair bet. And you mentioned Guerrier d'Espace. The quarterback posted a 147 QB rating and lost.
That's
I
nuts.
mean, the guy is on top of his game, and they still lost. But then again, he completes 9 passes for 7 touchdowns.
Half of his yards went to Antoine Baril.
I mean, that's basically just shipping it downfield.
Yeah, I
when
guess so.
7 out of 9 are touchdowns. But yeah, I think Jim hit it on the nail with his picks. All these teams are either they won or they're on a winning streak. I think they're gonna do well, and I would say I agree.
With that in mind, when there's a top, there's always going to be a bottom.
Yeah.
Who are your 5?
Okay, so I'm gonna go with GLC as one of my bottom 5s. Even though they've played it together for a long time, they've always been unorganized up until day
I
one.
think that's what comes from it, is that if you have a team who has the same core and they're still struggling to get those wins, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
New option at quarterback as well for them. They still have Mendy Cardichon. They still have Naim Ghulam Hussein, Justin Previon.
And Max Kevin. I mean, they have the guy. Their core is still there. And Mendy Cardichon is a great player, great, awesome player. I love this guy. But can he do it all by himself? I don't think so.
Next up.
Fuzzy Kittens. Fuzzy Kittens. I think it's a lot of hype. I just don't think that they have what it takes to be able to they're a grinding team, and I don't think they have what it takes to be able to take a team to take a win to the next level.
This is a team that plays together in Flagmont outdoors. They're familiar with each other. Simon Bosquet-Baudouin and Mathieu Roy-Casey, they're both going to be strong players in Div 5B, and I think that's going to be enough to carry them just above the bottom. It's not going to lead them to a ton of blowout wins,
Maybe
but
a
I think it's going to
500.
keep them out of the bottom of the pack.
Maybe a 500, I see at best. I think, but SBB is able to break out games. If there's anybody, it's going to be him. But I just don't see it happening with the rest of the team. Third team I have on this list has been there, done that, only because they're coming up, and when you come up to another division,
There's a learning curve.
there's a big time learning curve, and you're playing against teams like Ghosts, DG Goons, St. Lunatics, Sith, whoever you're playing against, Flying Weasels. You know, you're playing against teams that have been in this league for a long time, and they're going to be able to take your game plan away from you. And they might, like I said before, if Tardif is able to get through the season and figure out what his offense is going to be, they might have a chance. But right now, I think they're bottom 5.
It's interesting that you mention Siths in your top 5, because I have them in my bottom 5 right now. Aside from Stéphane Chartrand and Gino DeFazio, there's not a lot of depth to this team. I feel like just the same as the Mercenaries in Div 3, we're going to see a lot of just one player in one week, one player out the next week.
That's a good point.
I'm afraid that we're not going to see a lot of consistency for this team, and they've definitely made it into my bottom 5.
I see the Siths. I see why you say that, because if they can be one-dimensional, and we know how they can be one-dimensional, it could happen. Yeah, I can see that happening, just like I can see them finishing top 5 as well.
I see as well, in my bottom 5 for now, I have Nick Bellows, Les Huards. Right now,
when Nick Bellows your quarterback, I'll put you in bottom 5 for sure.
so they're on your
Shots
list as well.
fired.
Yeah.
And my last one right now, it comes with a question mark. It's Weapon X. Andel Gordon's got a great team.
I was gonna say.
Ryan Brown is a great two-way player in the higher divisions as a receiver, as a center. He's really a plug-and-play player. He just needs to know how he's going to lead this team and sort of turn the athleticism into experience.
Ryan Brown is the reason why I didn't put this team on the bottom 5. I was looking at this roster. Andel Gordon has been there for a long time. The Worrell boys. I mean, I looked at this roster and I said, this roster doesn't look like a bottom 5 team to me. Instead, I had a team like the Bruins, where I know nobody on the roster. So for me, the Bruins. Are gonna be in the
So
bottom
tradition, as is FPF tradition, when you don't know a team at all, they automatically go to the bottom.
automatic. They're just like it happened with the Game Changers. Nobody knew who the hell they were, and they went undefeated and won the championship. So Bruins do the same.
Do it. With
Do
that,
it.
do it.
Do it.
With that, we move on to the top of 5A. right now, my quick five, we'll see if we touch on the same ones. Sphinx, Obamacare, Les Verges Folles, Tomahawk Nightmare, and Wolfpack with a question mark.
We got two. We got Obamacare and Les Verges Folles. Instead of Wolfpack, no, actually Sphinx also. Sphinx for sure, I got them in there. So instead of Wolfpack, I got Top Sauce. Respect. And who's the other team?
Tomahawk Nightmare?
I took Tomahawk Nightmare out of my roster, like I said before, and I'm throwing in the Gators.
Okay. So tell us why you agree with me with mine first before you get to yours.
Well, Sphinx, they were one game away from the finals last year.
They were one game away from the finals last
Every year.
and their first season in
And their
Division
first
5. In the semifinals of Div 5, which was arguably the finals where Sphinx played the Family in a close game, and then the Family beat them by a nose and then smoked the Love Cows in the finals.
Yeah, the Sphinx for me are that team that nobody kind of wants to play. I mean, they're good. I mean, Papich is awesome. I mean, we can say that. The only thing is, they're the bottom. I think they're the bottom of this top 5 team that we have here. I have Gators in there because of Eddie the Latin Hustle Martinez. You got
as well as Evan Cook. Evan Cook is a huge addition to this team with the absence of Steve Sander.
Evan Cook, very underrated player in FPF. He's been there in the league for a long time. I got Sander also is on this team. Well, he usually is. It's just
I think that he
I'm
is
a big
the
fan of
replacement right
Gators.
now.
Yeah.
But Evan Cook, very physical defender, great football knowledge as well. Corey Walwaski now quarterbacking this team as well.
They love Koryawoski, and I wasn't a fan of him last year. But when he filled in for them, I was like, not a fan. But he did pretty well, and they went into the playoffs. Even though they lost on the last play in overtime, I think, in Division I want to say D. Division C. No, it wasn't a bad snap. No Eagle. I wasn't playing. And they lost in overtime. I think that they've taken that right step. And Koryawoski, one season under his belt with a good roster, because he did quarterback for Toon Squad. Didn't work out too well, but he didn't have the athletes and the good players that he has, like Eddie Martinez and Sander, and Evan Cook, of course.
I just want to make a quick shout out
feel
to Sticky Hands. They're not the team that everybody knows about. They're not necessarily the most known. But they have my boy Nicolas Sarro, who's an amazing athlete. They also have Louis Michel Archambault. La Bonté is starting to grow as a quarterback, becoming it's his second season as a quarterback. He's starting to know what he's doing. I think Sticky Hands might take a few teams by surprise. Are they top 5? I don't think so. But they're still the kind of team that's going to take many of us by surprise and going to finish above 500.
They were on my bubble, Sticky Hands.
On a team that was on my bubble and did make it. A team that jumped up from Division 6, Obamacare.
Yeah.
Jordan McInnes moved to receiver. They have Jake Applebaum throwing for them.
Great player.
So, yeah, absolutely great player. Huge pickup for them. They have a very physical team. Great rush.
He was a quarterback for Recipe for Disaster, if anybody doesn't know.
Still is.
Still is, okay. And he led his team in the playoffs. They ended up losing, but either way, he's a very good quarterback. And I think it's a great addition. The athletes that they have on this team is nuts, man. They're so good. I know because they torched us last year. It's just impressive to watch. And Jordan McInnes is a really good receiver. For him to move over, to slide over, it's only going to make them that much better.
I also have Wolfpack on my list. You're not going to mention them because they're your own team.
Well, I'll talk on my team all day.
So feel free.
Okay. So this is why we're not going to win, because I'm quarterback. This is why we're going to win.
Because there's everyone else around
Because everybody else around me. I think our defense is going to bring us to where we need to be. We have a tough schedule, like I said before. But guys that we added on the team, we basically added any good player from A squad. So we added Richie Mondesir and Jerome Mergenord on the team to play the corners. You can't forget about Darren, shutdown corner Basmagian.
The pocket watch himself.
And we also added a rusher, Marc-André Benoit, on our team, and he did a very good job his first game. And he's a good rusher. I like the kid a lot, and he's fun to play with. And we also have, nobody talks about this guy, but I've hyped him up every year. He's been on our team since day one. No, Federico Alzamora. I mean, if you have a chance to watch this kid play, I think everybody that plays against him loves watching him play, loves playing against him, because he's such a nice guy and he's all over the place. And he's such a good player. I think that he can play in high divisions, low divisions, wherever it is. Overall, he's the overall one of the better players in this division for sure.
With that, we have to get to our bottom 5 as well.
Yeah.
For me, just to touch on, I have the Fat and the Furious, a team that's full of athleticism and knowledge, but I don't think that they can quite apply it on paper just yet. They were a mess in Div E. It's been rough for them. I still see it's going to be a little bit of a learning experience.
Were they forced to go up?
Athleticism? They're
I'm
named the Fat and the Furious.
Yeah, the Furious part of that.
Okay.
They're not all fat, man. I'm not on the team. I put Fat and Furious is on my team as well. I was on my list as well. Same points coming up. I don't know if they would fit in Division E. Maybe they should have went to Division 6. I don't know if they fit in Division 6. Maybe they should have went there.
Or even 5B.
Or even 5B at that point, exactly. But hey, you don't want a challenge? Take it. They might have had some padded stats that brought their ratings up. But like bottom five for sure. BMS, I think you had them on your list as well.
Yeah, I have BMS Goats as well. With the absence of Daniel Lazara, at least for right now, whether or not he's playing quarterback is irrelevant.
No, he can't
he
play
brings
quarterback.
no, I know that, but whether or not he's playing quarterback, he's still on that team. He brings experience, he brings knowledge, and he's able to lead that team. I think without that sort of savoir-faire of a higher division player, they're going to fall a little bit short.
Well, we saw them last winter, playing in Division 6, and they were losing by like 15 points, 16 points. Like they weren't complete blowouts, but you saw that they had something, and they're young, and they're willing, and they want to play, and they're all smart kids, and I think they just have to learn to play the game of football. And with the additions they had on the team, what they added on the team, like Daniel Lazara,
The Fiorillos,
exactly. I think they could do great. I don't see it within this division. They should have been in 5B.
we touched upon them earlier. I'm sure you might agree for right now, Space Pirates.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
I have Pardon My Swag as well. I think they would have been a little bit better suited to 5B rather than 5A, but they will be able to pull out some wins.
Yeah, they're asterisks for me. I think they could pull out wins. I think they're always a 500 team. No matter who they play against, they always play up to their competition. A loss this week, 32-31. Look at scores like that. Brad Evans, as good as a quarterback as he is, I just don't think that he's able to manage games as well as he could. They're not in my bottom five, but I do have them to a close bottom five.
My asterisk for you mentioned them as being an asterisk. My asterisk is black shirts right now.
Okay, black shirts. Yeah, I see that.
Emilio Pampana taking over for Seth Galina at quarterback. Seth Galina playing receiver. This is a team that made the playoffs in Division 5 last year, but there's nothing that sort of elevates them to the next level. They sort of grind against teams and make their wins from that. But I don't think it's a proven success just yet, having just lost to Obamacare as well.
Exactly. I know the team. I know the boys. I've seen them play before. I haven't seen them play this season. I don't know what Emilio can do as a quarterback. Knowing Emilio, a really good athlete, he has awesome hands. And to take him away from what he does best and catch the ball is a little weird to me. Seth Galina, I mean, he has a knowledge for being a quarterback. He's a quarterback coach. And he can throw the ball well. Maybe he just wanted to play receiver. I don't know. I think that their better option would have been Seth Galina at quarterback. Maybe he doesn't fit the cap. I don't think that's the case. But it'll be interesting to see Emilio play at quarterback. Maybe he can string away a few wins. But honestly, they were on the outskirts for me too. But they're a team that can finish 500 just like PMS. I mean, I see that happening because they've played so long in this league. They're very experienced.
So with that in mind, we're going to get a quick 1 or 2 sentence recap on each of the games that are coming up. We're going to give our picks, and We're going to start with 5B. So starting off in 5B, we have Fuzzy Kittens matched up against Les Guerriers de l'Espace. Who do you have and why?
Guerriers de l'Espace, pure on the firepower they have on offense.
Flying Weasels, DG Goons.
Flying Weasels, DG Goons. I'm going to go DG Goons on this one. Actually, you know what? I'm changing. I'm going Flying Weasels on this one only because I think that if Pendenza gets back, if he's not in a lead, he tends to panic, kind of thing. And like I said earlier, he has a lot of good strengths, and his biggest strength is coming from behind, and I don't think he has that. So if Flying Weasels get ahead, I see them blowing the team out. If not, then I think it'll be a grinding, but I'll give it to Flying Weasels.
So Terry, essentially with his first "if it happens, it happens" picks.
If it happens, it happens.
Yeah. Junkyard Dogs against Creamsicles.
I'm gonna go with Junkyard Dogs. Junkyard Dogs. This isn't the time. This isn't the week where they're gonna choke. Creamsicles is a team that not so well known. Jason Rossi is coming off a 6 touchdown game, so you can't throw that away. Vegas is gonna put the spread towards them, so I'm gonna follow the spread.
Green Lantern Corps up against Rednecks this week. Who do you like?
Rednecks. Green Lantern Corps, the unorganization, Rednecks, athletic team, all ex-football players. Awesome team.
Les Patriotes and Sith. And Les Patriotes.
Les Patriotes. I'm going to go Siths on this one. I know you probably disagree with me on this. I'm going to go Siths on this one. Steph Chartrand is one of the better receivers in this league. He's always been.
But he's playing quarterback.
Better players in this league, I wanted to say. He's just an overall smart player. Gino, as we can say what we want about Gino, but the fact is that he knows the game very well. And I think that he can be able to manage a game out of this, manage a win.
Been there, done that against Les Huards.
Oh man, talk about two bottoms, eh? You always need a top and a bottom.
So nice.
So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna give it to Nicolas Bello on this one, even though I don't want to. So I'm gonna go with. Forgetting the team name now.
Leuven.
Sorry, yeah. I was about to say Genie.
One drop there.
I was gonna say Genie for some reason.
We will come up to Genie in a couple of seconds, but before that, we have Blue Devils and Bruins. Brand new team against Gianfranco Ronaldo.
Gianfranco Ronaldo, best regular season quarterback I've ever seen.
Love the police.
I love police. Don't give me a ticket. I think it's the first time I've ever picked Gianfranco to win. So let's record this.
I saw him play last week.
And he's gonna lose.
And it wasn't pretty.
It's not pretty. Okay,
It's
I'm
not
going
his
with the
receivers,
Bruins.
it's him. Like, let's be honest. Like, it's not because I don't like the guy. He was missing wide open guys. I think it threw about 25 incompletes.
Oh, okay. So
He was
he's
missing
consistent.
guys. But his team is there, and as soon as he doesn't have a bad game, it's going to happen.
From what I understand, he's hit a lot of people in the chest. Drops.
No.
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 Okay.
He was throwing-
Eagle saying yes, Simon saying no.
Simon-
I'm liking this.
He hit in the end zone, yes. They were drops.
I'll agree with
But
GM.
With that in mind, Sunshine Island against Genie.
I don't know. I can't pick. I'm gonna say Sunshine Island, just because I like the name.
Weapon X led by Ryan Brown against Small Giants.
I'm gonna go Weapon X, led by Ryan Brown. No, you small giant.
Simon shaking his
Small
head.
Giants. Nobody knows them.
The little
I
Giants.
score kept their game.
Well, they're
These
a
guys
team
were-
from Division 6 that have moved up.
These guys were on point.
Really?
They
Yeah.
really destroyed Gino's
You
team.
never know, man. Bruins, small giants. These are teams that not a lot of guys know, so maybe they can upset some teams.
The Pack and Takeover.
Takeover. I think that with Fan, Domo, and Stephen Forbes on the team, an unmatched defense would be able to beat the Pack and their simple offense.
Interesting. I rep that West
I rep the
against
West.
no that West.
That West.
I rep that West against Saint Lunatics.
Maybe they should rep that English. Against St. Lunatics, I'm going to go West athletes versus non-athletes. That's the only thing I would say.
Similar matchup as well. Jaguars and Ghosts.
I'm going to go Ghosts, top 5 right team. So non-athletes versus athletes at this point.
Interesting.
Yeah.
With that, we move on to 5A. Watch Me Whip. Hot Boys Hotline.
Anytime I'll go against Hot Boys Hotline, watch me whip.
Vuzu, Fat and the Furious.
Vuzu, I played against them this week. Could have been a lot dirtier than it was, but they grind it out. They have a good rusher. Their defense is good, even though they're older. But their defense is organized. Frank K really commands it, so I think I'm going to go Vuzu.
BMS Goats, Team Rocket.
I'm going to give BMS Goats on this one. I think that they could be able to grind out a win against Team Rocket.
I'm going to disagree with you, and I'm going to go with Team Rocket on principle alone.
We're not friends anymore.
That's fine.
It's fine.
Les Albatros, Sticky Hands.
As much as I wanted to pick Albatross, I think that I'm going to go with Sticky Hands on this one.
Because
they don't make too many mistakes. Their quarterback doesn't turn over the ball. It just like Simon was bringing to earlier. They're just a fun team to watch, and they're methodical is what I want to say.
Space Pirates and X-Men.
X-Men. Space Pirates don't have it so far this year, and X-Men, one of those 500 teams that they're gonna win early.
So what does Space Pirates need to do to win this game?
They need to have one quarterback and figure out who their rusher is gonna be. Jad has to use his feet on every second play.
Les Verges Folles against a very physical Trap Stars team.
The Trap Star is one of my. I actually put them in my bottom 5. I'm going Les Verges Folles on this one, strictly because they're the top team in the league. And when you have a guy, even though he's not throwing, Sean Lafortune on your team, he always gives you a chance to win. Based on what he said, looks like he knows what he's doing. So
Just on the subject of Trap Stars as well, I got barked at by a Trap Stars receiver as he ran by me.
Why?
And I mean, like an actual woof bark.
Woof woof?
Yeah.
like a, "Hoo," like that. One
It
of
was
those.
amazing.
It's weird.
Dope Boys, Supply and Command.
I'm gonna go Supply and Command. Justin Blanchard at quarterback there. Justin Blanchard at quarterback there. With Simon Dagenet playing receiver. Knowing what it's like to be overthrown and underthrown. I'm gonna go with Justin Blanchard using his athleticism to be able to get
Simon,
open.
I'm going to need you to predict the Wolfpack Pardon My Swag game and why.
I would say Wolfpack. It's not because I like Terry; it's because I like his team. It's well built, and I think they're gonna put it up about. They're gonna win by about 10 points. So a bit less than 2 scores, but confident.
I like it.
This is, for Wolfpack and Pardon My Swag, I'm going to go with Wolfpack as
Thanks,
well. I think
appreciate
that with just the sheer size difference between Wolfpack over Pardon My Swag, it's going to be enough to call them.
I didn't mention JS Colin, by the way, on our team. Added
You
on
forgot
our team.
Jacob.
Well, Jacob was always there.
Yeah,
so
who's a staple of that
he's
team.
a staple. He's my snapper, bro.
Flagrant Fouls playing 3 teams this week. They're essentially playing get on deck, get on deck, and get on deck.
Hope they have a good special teams plan. I'm going to go with Flagrant Fouls on this
If
one.
they have a special teams plan, is it like 3rd and 10 and then they bring someone off the bench to
No.
tell the referees to punt?
I think it's because they had the new rule instated where you have to punt and it goes to the first down mark. They needed 6 guys to figure out what they're going to do on that specific play. So that's what happened.
Sphinx versus Obamacare, probably going to be one of the best
Yeah.
games this week.
Eber on Monday. Maybe I'll be there to watch it. I'll try and get there. Eber Monday night, 9 o'clock. I'm going to go Sphinx on this one. Obamacare. But I'm looking at like a 35-34 game. Yeah.
I think it's going to be of similar outcome, but I'm going to pick Obamacare for this one. Tomahawk Nightmare, Top Sauce. Simon has his hand up.
Oh, Simon has
You
2
think- you
minutes
think
up.
He has 2 minutes up.
So I'm going to go. You want me to pick?
Yeah.
I'm going to pick your team. I'm going to pick Top Sauce on this one against Tomahawk Nightmare. For what I saw Tomahawk Nightmare this week, wasn't that impressed. What I know your team is capable of, very impressed. A lot of good players in your team.
Interesting outing for John Brown as well. Not quarterbacking, but playing center and just sort of being fed the ball by Vince Nardone.
Vince the Boner Nardone. I mean, Vince, one full
sauce.
season under his belt, he did. I think he's going to do very well. He's just one of the smartest players in this league.
They moved down as well. Let's not forget. They
It's
moved
also
down from
not the
C.
same roster.
They
No,
moved
you
down
don't-
from
you don't
C
have
to
a
5,
kill,
Yeah,
you
but
don't
the
have-
quarterback. I mean, the quarterback moved
Yep.
down.
It's
This is-
it's essentially both Nardones and then new guys.
But
Yeah.
Nardone's got this. I think I saw Thomas Nightmare play last week. Jeff Marquise
Yeah.
really didn't play well, and I think Nardone's going to take them by surprise.
And to round it out, Gators and Black Shirts.
I'm going to go Gators on this one. Eddie, the Latin Hustle, Truffle Muscle, Carlos Conde lookalike, Martinez, to break it open. My boy.
So that's it for us this week. You can definitely come and approach us on the sidelines. You can send us a message. You can send us an email. You can send us a tweet. No one tweeted in today, Eagle. Thank you for being here.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Teardrop.
love.
It's okay. We're going to hear about it after. At least I am. Terry Time FPF, you can tweet me. Very simple, and I'll answer back.
And with that, Olympus has spoken.